Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of Is It Usable? A series where I take a look at old technology, old operating systems, old software, and see if they can still be used in 2017 or 2018, whatever year, today. So in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at Windows 2.03. Now, Windows 2.03 was released in 1987. 2 years after the release of the original Windows 1.01. Windows 2.03 is similar to Windows 1.01. However, now we can actually resize and move Windows. As you can see, we are moving the MS-DOS Executive. And basically, it's very similar to Windows 1.01. You got the MS-DOS Executive. It runs on top of DOS. It's not its own operating system. It's not a standalone operating system. And just like Windows 1.01, in 2001, support was ended for both of the operating systems. And support was ended on December 31st of 2001. Alright, so now let's take a look at it. So when Windows 2 starts up, it launches the MS-DOS Executive. And you got all your files here. You got a text document here. So we're going to go and open up abc.txt. And as you can see, you don't have any tiled windows anymore. You can move these around, and it's kind of looking like modern Windows, like, Windows 10. However, there's no start menu or taskbar. Well, it kind of is a taskbar. If you minimize these, they're down here, and it's kind of like a taskbar. It's kind of like that. However, it's not. It just minimized Windows. And we can close this. And you got your basic Windows applications, except that they can be tiled and everything. I mean, not really tiled. They can be moved around freely. And you can maximize windows. You can minimize them. You can right-click them. Well, I don't think you really can right-click until Windows 95, but yeah. So, still, even though Windows 2 is similar to Windows 1, it's Windows 2. Now, like Windows 1.01, you can't install any third-party Windows applications. Like, you can't get an application, and it says that you need Windows 2 to install this. It's not like you're going to get a product from the store that requires Windows 2. It's just basically just a shell with its own programs that you just use. However, it can run some DOS applications. So if we go to here, what DOS application do we have? We'll take a look at our DOS 5 applications. So we'll go to our DOS folder, and I'll try to open up one of these DOS applications. And we'll try to open up maybe DOSShell.com. We'll go ahead and load it anyways. Okay, unable to load Microsoft DOS shell. No. Okay, so basically it's kind of like a shell. Not the MS-DOS shell, but Windows 2. It's kind of like a DOS shell. It can shell out to DOS to run DOS applications. And so we'll try running fdisk. Go and load it. As you can see, we can load up fdisk. But you can't really multitask DOS applications. Like, you can't have two different DOS applications open at the same time. However, I believe that a year later, in 1988, that they made a version of Windows called Windows 386 and 286, and it was basically Windows 2 designed for the modern, not really modern, but the Intel 386 and the 286, which it took advantage of it, I think, and you got like enhanced 386 mode that allowed for the true multitasking of DOS applications. Since this virtual machine emulates a Pentium, it's not really compatible with that. So if you know any way to emulate a 386 or a 286, then that would be really great. So I could actually do a video on Windows 2.11, which was Windows 286 and 386. Okay, so when you close out of a DOS application, you get this like thing on the top saying inactive DOS application. If you hit enter and then go to close, it'll just exit out and bring you back to Windows 2. And yeah. Another thing about Windows 2 is that it can, it supports VGA. It just works the IBM VGA. We're running this in VGA. Windows 1 did not support VGA. It only supported EGA. and some other video formats. I mean, monitors, but it did not support VGA. However, Windows 2 supports VGA, so that's good. It's nice for emulation. And we go back to the Windows folder, and we try to open up. If you try to open up just like a file that's not associated with anything, it just says that it can't run the file. Simple. What were you expecting? Don't they have like a setup.exe that shows you like how your system is set up? Where's setup? I thought they had like a setup file. I think that was only in Windows 1. So yeah, so basically you can't install any programs like Windows 1, and there's really no point of having it unless you are offline and you're only going to be using this for making documents and stuff. Like, offline, very small text documents. You're not going to be able to install any programs, or even any old programs. You can install DOS programs, but that's not Windows programs, that's just DOS programs. And that would be just using DOS in 2017. So yeah, it's still not possible to run Windows 2.03 in 2017. I mean, I already said that in my Windows 1.0 video that Windows 1 is absolute shit. So basically Windows 2 isn't really any better. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video. It's a kind of a short video, and I hope that was a good video on Windows 2, and that was pretty much it. I never really did any interaction with the operating system, but I just showed you that you have an MS-DOS executive where you have all your files and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm going to go ahead and exit the DOS executive, or whatever it's called, and we're back to DOS 5. And yeah, so that's pretty much it for this video, and goodbye.